Okay, I want to show you a little bit of the power of being able to rearrange these formulas into different forms and using this equation solving to solve for a single variable. So I made this little physics calculator for my other science teacher friend, and it does three different things. You could solve for the force, or the mass, or the acceleration. So let's just do an example here. Like if I want to solve for the force, I press F, reset. And then he asks what's the mass, so let's say 3. And what's the acceleration, let's say 2. And then it gives you the force value is mass times the acceleration, which is 2 times 3, right? 2 times 3 is 6. And then I could do another thing. So how about this time I'll solve for the mass. So he asks what's the force. So the force will say 8. And the acceleration will say is 2. And now it's the force is equal to, or the mass is equal to the force divided by the acceleration. And that was 8 divided by 2, so it's 4. And I could also solve for the acceleration by pressing A. So say force is 6, and the mass was 3. Oh, I made a horse sound. Okay, so acceleration is equal to the force divided by the mass, which is equal to 2. So I had to make this cat function. I had to figure out, okay, if the force, I want to set the force equal to the mass times the acceleration, or I want to set the acceleration to the force divided by the mass, or I want to set the mass equal to the force divided by the acceleration. And that's for each of these different letters that he pressed. So if you press F, he'll solve for the force. If you press A, he'll solve for the acceleration. Which is M, will solve for the mass. So this is just one use of it. Let me show you on paper now how I would do that rearranging of the formula. So the formula is defined as a force is equal to the mass times the acceleration. So if I wanted to solve for A, if I wanted to have, well, I want to just solve for A and get A equals something. So what I want to do is turn anything that's multiplying the number I want to solve for into a 1, and anything that's adding to that I want to turn into a 0. So if I want to solve for the acceleration, all I do is I turn whatever's multiplying it into a 1. And so I could do that by just dividing by whatever's multiplying it, so undoing the multiplication. So I undo the multiplication by dividing by m. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. So this becomes a 1, and so I get 1a is equal to f divided by m. And I can do the same thing if I wanted to solve for the mass. So if I want to solve for the mass, I want to turn this into a 1, so I divide by a. So mass is equal to force acceleration. 1 mass, right? Now, what if I gave you something like this? Let's say the distance is equal to the velocity times the time plus the starting position, so we'll call that x0. Okay, so say here I wanted to solve for the time it would take me to go a distance at a certain velocity given a certain starting position. So there I want to solve for the t, so I'll circle it, and I want to get rid of everything else. I want to turn everything that's adding to it into a 0, and I want to turn anything that's multiplying it into a 1. So I want to kind of get to this thing again, 1x plus 0, where this is my variable I'm solving for. So here I want to get rid of the x0, so I'm going to subtract x0 from both sides. This is whatever number minus whatever number, so I don't know what those numbers are, so I leave them as that, d minus x0, and then vt. So this minus this is 0, it goes away. Now I want to get rid of the v, so I divide by v, and I have to divide the whole side by v to get that. So this would be 1t is equal to d minus x0 over v. Okay, so that's how you solve these formulas and get them in the right order. Okay, so let's build our own little cat function, and let's do something that people hate doing in algebra, and that's solving for y equals mx plus b. Now, say we're given 3 of these results, so we're given what the x coordinate is, so we'll say it's 2, and we're given the slope is 1/4, so 0.25, and we'll say b is 5, right? So maybe you have to do a bunch of these. So what I like to do is just write a program that can, so maybe they give you another list of values and in your homework or something like that, and you just don't want to do it 1,000 times, figuring it out, so you just write a computer program to do it. But sometimes maybe they give you the y value and the x value, maybe they give it as a coordinate, so like 0, 3, and a slope of 5. Now you have to find the b value, right? So maybe there's 2 programs that you're writing. So one, we can have it solve for y, but another one we want to solve for b. So now to solve for b, we want to isolate that variable, get it by itself, so there's just one of them. So the way I would do that, so I want to get that by itself, so it's already one of them, so I just need to make it add to 0. So I want to get to the 1x plus 0, where x is my unknown. So here my b is my unknown, so I want to just get 1b plus nothing. So the way I get rid of that is just to get rid of this whole thing. So I can subtract all of that mx. So subtracting the mx, and I have to subtract it from both sides because of our property of equality. Whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other. So that becomes a 0. 0 plus b would just be b. And then over here I have y minus mx. And I don't know what those numbers are, so I can't combine them in any way. So this is the formula to solve for b. Now, we'll leave it up as an exercise for you to solve for m, to get it by itself, and to solve for x, get it by itself. Okay, and then I'm going to build a little cat function to do those two. So